Nintendo, you did us wrong. You took away a lot, but this is unbearable. You took away emulation. You took away our ROMs. Nintendo, this is unforgivable. Why, Nintendo? Why? Hey there, guys. This is Juggy82 with another video. I will just say this and just be real with you guys. I don't collect a lot of games as most of the people I'm subscribed to. Uh, as you can say, it's to make money, but hey, you have to have money to buy that shit. But the thing that I've been seeing the last couple of days, and I've kind of seen and I kind of said to myself, why, after all these years, why is Nintendo's, and don't get me wrong, Nintendo will always hold a heart to heart with me as it relates to what they did for gaming. My first actual console was the Nintendo. Had years and years of enjoyment out of that system. The original Nintendo and Super Nintendo that came after that. As it relates to the current situation with Nintendo, basically throwing lawsuits out here and there about their situation dealing with emulation. And I'm going to say this, man, and this is my 2 cents, of course. There's a lot of people that uploaded videos about this. Um, I am not going to say that I've had a whole lot of Nintendo consoles and this. I had a GameCube. My mom has a Nintendo 64. Never had Sheila had a Wii or Wii U. So Switch, I never switched. But other than that, the cultural significance of Nintendo has always been in there with me. I mean, if you guys think about it, the gaming crash of like '83 with an Atari and all that shit. I mean, when Nintendo came out, it was like and I speak from this in general from the retrospect of seeing it throughout the history. Because of course, back in like '85, I was but like 3 or 2 years old, so I wouldn't be able to just say I knew what the hell Nintendo was doing. But what it did for gaming was amazing. It brought us into where we are now. Actually, if it wasn't for Nintendo, you wouldn't have an Xbox, you wouldn't have a PS4, and so on. And the whole dichotomy of what they brought to gaming in general cannot be put to asunder, because that is what it's got all this shit going on right now with the YouTube and people doing nostalgic gaming plays and all that shit and doing stuff about current systems. Nintendo was the hook that brought it back. Now, with that being said, out of respect to Nintendo, what the fuck with this whole suing emulation shit? Come on, man. What the fuck? I'm trying to figure out how the fuck you gonna sit there and throw lawsuits out the ass to these sites. Now, don't get me wrong. ROMs and all that shit, people say it's illegal. Of course, if you don't own the game and all that shit. But some of these games have 20 plus odd years where some of the games literally haven't even been reproduced, remade, whatnot, statute of limitations and all that shit. So what the fuck is the problem? Now, for me, I take this as a situation where it's more about the money than anything. You're suing sites for millions of dollars you know they don't have, and you think this is great. Nintendo, you're going to put yourself in a whole lot of backlash from your gaming community and the people that support your product to sit there and do this. First of all, you already got bullshit situations with your Switch, which has been cracking up there everywhere. I saw a video from Rich Rutech USA where he showed his damn fucking thing. I mean, come on now. And then also the fact that you're sitting there trying to sit there and knock motherfuckers for putting out emulators. Come on now. Like I said, I've had the N64 emulator, Project 64. I've had the ZNES, Super NES emulator. I had the uh, Sega Genesis emulator that I had years ago, which played Sega Genesis, Sega Master System, Game Gear, all that shit in one system. I've had all those. Some of the games did I own? No, I didn't own. Because hell, half the games that they actually have now, you would have to pay hundreds of dollars. If there are rare games, you wouldn't be able to play anyway. Now, that being said, I've had MAME also with the arcade system. Of course, with an arcade system, you are not going to be able to buy all those arcade systems unless you're fucking Trump or Bill Gates. That being said, I feel it's kind of fucking repetitive and stupid on Nintendo's part to even try to come at these companies when then this is the thing, this is the kicker, and this is the kicker, or this is the twist. These fucking sites have been out for fucking years. They've been out for years. I'm talking about years. I'm talking about like decades for most of them. And now all of a sudden you're getting like, I think it's time for us to sue. I think it's time. I really do. I think it's time for us to sue. And I say this with all due respect to Nintendo. Why? Why? What's the purpose? It's like suing a person that's homeless for millions of dollars. You're not getting anything out of it. Is this to make the consumer say, "Hey, we need to do"? Because first, like I say, if I want to do what I do as it relates to emotion, like I said, everybody doesn't have the money. You don't have this right here. Everybody doesn't have that money, and to buy a whole lot of games to have a full stack collection of games, have a fucking game room where it's all this. Everybody doesn't have that ability to fork over that much money to do things because people have shit to do. But it says to Nintendo is that you want people to buy all your shit, and basically you don't want anybody. And like I said, most emulation sites, from what I've heard, like say I've been on Rum Hustle, Dope Rums. I've been, and the one that of course Emerald Paradise I used to be on a lot, and it's a really great site. But unfortunately, they had to take away the rums. And the thing that gets me is like these sites were put together by really creative people, and then even you had like ROM hacks and so forth of people putting stuff together where it was not even, it was more of an original concept of some original Nintendo stuff, but they were putting stuff out. Now, this being said about Nintendo in general is just one thing, because you have ROMs, of course, for PlayStations, Dreamcast, and all that. You have other systems that have been, of course, emulated. But the thing that gets me is about Nintendo's furious rage about the fact that people go to these sites to, and it was one site I remember a while years ago on my site where it was about it was a site called Virtual NES, and Virtual NES was a site where you didn't actually have to download anything. You just go to the site and you could play Nintendo games, the original Nintendo games on that site, and I thought that was pretty cool. Of course, that site doesn't exist anymore. But the thing about it is, it was something cool to be able to do and then having an enjoyment of what you wanted to do when it came to playing video games and so forth. That being said, with Nintendo, I think it's really, really hurtful for people who have supported your systems, supported your product, anything that has anything to do with your name, the brand in general, have supported you. And now all of a sudden you feel the need to go against the grain, if you will. Like I say, Nintendo, you are an intellectual property. You own the rights to all those games that you produce. But the thing that, like I say, kicks me in the ass, the fact that you will literally come out of nowhere to say, "You son of a bitch, you're talking, this is ours. You cannot fuck with it." I think it's just bullshit, and it's kind of like hurtful for the people who've literally supported you guys for all these years. Because at the end of the day, I understand what people's. Some people might thumb down this video. I don't give a fuck. I'm just being honest, man. I've enjoyed playing emulation games because it gave me the ability to play games that I would never be able to buy or even own. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I feel at the end of the day, what Nintendo is doing is kind of like a cop out, because unless you're just saying to yourself, of course, when like people will say, well, this is because when the NES Classic or Super NES Classic came out, people figured out a way to, of course, mod it and so forth. I don't own neither of those systems. And I feel it's such a fucking cop out by Nintendo's part. You're a fucking multi-billion-dollar company. You have all these people that know what your name brand is. Even if you didn't have a Sony PlayStation or a fucking Xbox, you would know Nintendo. It's being greedy. Greed. It's just, it's all it is. It's being greed. I say, Nintendo, calm the fuck down. Chill the fuck out. It's not that fucking radical that these folks are putting these sites out. Like I said, Emir Paradise has been out for years, and all of a sudden, they did it with Cool ROMs a couple years back. It's just crazy. I mean, at the end of the day, what are you gaining from it? If anything, you're going to lose in the long run, because you're going to have people that are going to literally step back from your product because they feel at the end of the day, you're a bunch of money-hungry bastards. And what else can be said? Power to the player. Power to my ass. Nintendo power. Yeah. But yeah, this has been Jughead82 with another video telling you guys, if you like emulation, just like it. Don't sit there and try to sit there and sugarcoat anything. Hell, it's a point of where you just have to come to the conclusion that this is something you enjoyed. This is something you do enjoy, and Nintendo is trying to take away your enjoyment. But yeah, this is Jughead82 saying it must be like Mr. Man says, all about the money for Nintendo. Signing off. You guys have a good one.